सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। ॐ नारायणः परो व्यक्तात् अण्डमव्यक्तसम्भवम् अण्डस्यान्तस्त्विमे लोकाः सप्तद्वीपा च मेदिनी सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। Hari Om. So we are into this fourth day of Srimad Bhagavad Gita through the eyes of Bhagavan Sri Shankaracharya, and we are looking into the Arjuna Vishada Yogam. Arjuna Vishada Yogam is the grief of Arjuna, the sorrow of Arjuna, standing in between the battlefield, in between both sides of the army. He asks Krishna to stop the chariot, and Krishna, instead of stopping the chariot in front of his arch enemies like Duryodhana and Dushasana, he stops the chariot in front of his teachers, his grandfather Bhishma, teachers Dronacharya, Kripacharya. And Arjuna is overwhelmed with pity, thinking that his uncles, his grandparents, his teachers, and his people who are equal to his nephews, and who are all equal to his brothers, wives, brothers. Many relatives are there on the other side also. And he feels that they all have to die in this battlefield. And his thinking becomes very different. It becomes very diffident. The logic becomes very perverted. It is like he begins to say, after all, what is the big deal about this kingdom? I don't want this kingdom. What am I going to do with this kingdom and all the money? When all the people for whose sake this kingdom is there, they're all ready to die in this battlefield. And they may all even die in the battlefield. What will I do with the kingdom after that? These kind of thoughts are coming. They're welling up in Arjuna, almost like the cesspool of the unconscious mind. The cesspool of the unconscious mind is activated and the thoughts are bubbling up. We know how the bubbling comes in cesspools with so much of foul gas and smell. In the same way, all his unwanted, diffident, defeatist thoughts which lack clarity, thoughts which are justificatory in nature, thoughts which are avoiding action, thoughts which want to make him run away from the battlefield, like out of fear, almost like he's sounding very fearful to he's sounding very much afraid to fight in this battlefield. So those are the kind of thoughts that he is expressing to Bhagavan Shri Krishna. And all the while, there is no mention of Krishna saying anything in between. It is like somebody going to the psychiatrist or a counselor or a therapist, and they go and sit in front of them and they let out their mind and speak their problems. The therapist does not talk in between. The therapist completely listens. They're very much trained in listening, and that is what most of their fees goes towards. If we can really find such people to listen in our life, we don't need to spend so much on psychiatric treatment, on therapy treatment, because that is a very great skill that is involved in completely listening, not interjecting, not asking questions, not justifying, not being judgmental, not making fun, At the same time, like a good friend would do, Bhagwan Shri Krishna is listening to Arjuna. And in this 37th verse, Tasmanarha vayam hantum dhartarashtran swabandhavan swajanam hi katham hatva sukhinasyama madhava. So he says these people are all felons who have atatayin, that's a word that's being used, who are all doing all the worst crimes possible in the world, especially the 5 main crimes. Tasman na arha vayam hantum. Because of that reason, it is not befitting for them to be killed in our hands, which means now he is bringing up the self-righteous, he is going to the self-righteous mode, where he says that people need to be fit enough to be killed by them. First of all, he is assuming that he is going to win in the battle, which is basically it need not necessarily be the right assumption. But more than that, he says, in order to avoid the battle, he says, it is not fit for them to be killed in our hands. Tasma na arha vayam hantum. They are not fit to be killed by us. Who are they? Dhartarashtran swabandhavan. The people, the relatives, and the Dhartarashtras, the sons of Dhritarashtra, are not fit to be killed by us. Because another thing, Swajanam hi katham hatva sukhinah syama. How can I be happy? How can we be happy after killing our own relatives? Which is the right thing. It is dharma, but the context is wrong. Even if the relatives are doing wrong, they have to be killed. That is a different question altogether. Just because they are relatives, if you spare them, then it is equal to nepotism. It is a different problem altogether. But here he is asking a rhetoric, a different question. Swajanam hi katham hatva sukhinah syama. It is true. It doesn't mean that Bhagavad Gita is recommending killing of one's own people or fighting with one's own people. But here Arjuna is using that logic, using that goodness of thought for a wrong purpose. Sukhina Syama Madhava, O Madhava, O Sri Krishna. Why that name is used is the wife of Lakshmi is Madhava. He is known for his great connections in his family, his relatives and friends and all that. Krishna is living very happily and his relationships are very good. He would not really like fighting with relationships and relatives. And so he is using that word to remind Krishna, you are a great family man. Now tell me, how is it correct to fight my own family members and kill them in this battle? It is not right. Right, Krishna? He is trying to justify his cause for not fighting. The next verse, 38th verse. Yadyapyetena pashyanti lobhopahata chetasaha kulakshaya kritam dosham mitradrohe cha patakam katham nagneyam asmabhihi papadasman nivartitum kulakshaya kritam dosham prapashyadbhir janardana. Here he says, we know, Krishna, that these people we should not fight. They are not befitting to be killed by us because they are athatayins. They are worst offenders of the worst kind of all different types of crimes. But they also happen to be our relatives. On that account also, it is not worth killing them because we cannot be happy on killing our relatives. We know this, but they cannot see all this. They are not able to see this, and that is why they have come to this battlefield. Yadyapi ete na pashyanti lobha. Why can't they see? Their chetas, their consciousness is overpowered by greed. Greed for wealth, greed for woman, greed for fame, name, popularity, everything. They have got so much of greed in them, so they cannot see that you should not fight with relatives. But we are all good people, self-righteous. We are all so good. We can see that, Krishna. We can see that We should not fight with our relatives. How can we fight Krishna? It is okay if they fight. They cannot see, but we are able to see that. So we should not fight in this battle. It is like the soldier who has been trained for the army. He has gone to the battlefield and there he runs away from the battlefield. So people are not going to take kindly to that because he is running from the call of duty and he will be court-martialed. But here, since Arjuna is a leader, Arjuna is a king or king material, that question is not brought here. It is more a philosophical discussion between Krishna and Arjuna. He is not yet run away. If he had officially gone out of the battlefield, then it is a disgrace for him as a warrior. But still, he is giving these reasons. Kulakshaya kritam dosham mitradrohe cha pataka. These people, what they don't see that there is a problem that comes because of kulakshayam. Kula is the lineage, the family. When the family and the lineage has been disturbed and destroyed and cut, there is a fault that comes out of that. What is the fault? He will say the next few verses. And then there is a great sin committed when we do mitra droha, when we work against our own friends, people who love us, people who are our well-wishers, people who are friendly with us. When we do something against them, that means when we fight them in this context, it is a patakam. It will cause great downfall because it is a grievous crime. It is a grievous sin. The difference between sin and crime is punishable by law. Sin is not punishable by law, but the mind of the person will punish sin. The mind will be restless when sin is committed. And when sin is committed, the results of that action will not be very pleasurable for us to bear. That is the difference between crime and sin. He says, the next verse, Katham na jneyam asmabhihi papadasman nivartitum kulakshaya kritam dosham prapashyadbhir janardana. Katham na jneyam asmabhihi papadasman nivartitum. Even after seeing that this is a sin, kulakshaya kritam dosham prapashyadbihi, we are all seeing that this is a sin. O Janardana, O Krishna, who is worshipped by all people, katham na jneyam asmabihi nivartitum papam asmat papat nivartitum. How come we can do it when we know that we have to withdraw from this sin? When we know that we cannot, even if they don't know, it is fine, but we know that the lineage will be destroyed by this sin, and after knowing it, how can we also not withdraw from this and go and fight in the war, Krishna? Oh Janardana, please tell me. Like, it is like somebody who's just going on, they have their own point. Sometimes people, they would have decided what to do. They want to do what they want to do, and they are not expected to do that. They will go on talking from their own side about how important it is that they have to do what they have to do, or they are not doing what they are supposed to do. They will just be going on giving explanations. It will be like ranting. It is very difficult to listen to that because the other person knows that, oh my God, you are supposed to do this and you have to do it. There's no way that you're going back on this. And so you keep talking what you want to talk. That is the way Krishna is listening. But Arjuna is going on and on. He is giving more reasons. So many verses are coming together because so many reasons he is giving together. Kulakshaye pranashyanti kuladharma sanatana dharme nashte kulam kritsnam adharmo bhibhavatyuta. So first he says kulakshayam. We know the lineage will be destroyed. When the lineage is destroyed, we incur sin. First one. Second one, kuladharmaha sanatanaha pranashyanti. The ancient practices which are all being followed in that lineage will all get destroyed if the lineage is destroyed. If the people are not there to follow, then the practices, the good practices that we have cultivated so far will go away. Second point. Then when the dharma or the responsibilities and duties or the goodness, the flowering, the cultural renaissance, whatever may be happening through the lineage, when that goes, what happens? Kulam Krishnam adharmaha abhibhavatyuta. If we don't follow dharma, if we don't follow good practices, good money drives bad money out of circulation. Same way, if good money is going out of circulation, then bad money will come in. If good practices go out of circulation, then bad practices will creep in. Adharma abhibhavati uta. Another reason, third reason he is giving. First is there is destruction of the kula, then the dharma will get destroyed. Third is if the dharma gets destroyed, adharma will surround. If light is not there, the place will be dark. That's the same logic. What happens when adharma surrounds? Adharma bhibhavat Krishna pradushyanti kulastriyaha strishu dushtasu varshneya jayate varna sankaraha. He is giving a indefatigable logic which Krishna will appreciate. He's thinking Krishna will appreciate. When adharma abhibhavat Krishna, you now tell me this is all happening in the battlefield, in between the two armies. Adharma abhibhavat Krishna, O Krishna, if adharma increases and dharma decreases, next what will happen? Kulastriyaha, the women of this lineage will all get destroyed. Will all get destroyed means will do their own thing, go their own way, do what they please. They will not conform with the society's requirements. They will not conform with the duties that they need to do. They will not conform with the good qualities of societal existence. They will just get destroyed. Whatever meaning we may understand, it is the right meaning only. Kulastriyaha. Why are they so much concerned? Because the women are the custodians of the culture. Bring forth the next generation. They teach the next generation. They train the next generation. So it is very important that women are endowed with that good culture, that they may pass on that good culture to the next generation. Pradushyanti kulastriyaha. Women will get destroyed, meaning women will get polluted in their minds and they will start thinking thoughts which are not conducive for the welfare of the family, welfare of the society, and welfare of the nation. And they may think thoughts that are very independently good for them or independently turn. When women, the thoughts of women are destroyed, strishu dushtasu, varshneya. You are a great person coming in this kula of Vrishni. Your kula is a very great kula. So I am telling you about the importance of maintaining this lineage, O Krishna. Please listen to me. Jayate varna sankaraha. When women are disturbed in their thoughts, then there will be no proper varna dharma. Varna means according to the qualities of predominance of sattva guna, rajoguna, and tamoguna, and the permutation and combination, people were doing certain actions. Predominant sattva guna were people who were teaching, praying, meditating, doing pujas, havans, worshipping in temples for the sake of others, helping others, teaching others. So this was one varna, the first varna. The first, second, third, fourth is only the number count. It is not big or small. They are all equal. They are all different qualities for which different people become fit and they do those actions. So that is one varna. The second category is people endowed with a lot of rajas, with a lot of dynamism, with a lot of power, with a lot of agitation of mind and go-getting, ambition. They are all the executive people who execute and who protect land, who protect spaces, who protect people. So their strength is in the shoulders. They are very protective in nature, and their job is Rakshanam, Poshanam. Rakshanam is protection. Poshanam, not even Poshanam. Poshanam comes for the next Varna. But Rakshana. The first Varna is Shikshanam, teaching. Second Varna is Rakshana. The third Varna, where Rajoguna is predominant, Tamoguna supports Rajoguna, and Sattvaguna is a little lesser. They are they do the job of poshanam, or nourishing, collecting a lot of materials and nourishing the society by doing agriculture, by taking care of the cattle, animal husbandry, agriculture, and related activities, and trading, commerce. All that is being done, and they provide nourishment for people in terms of physical produce and selling and trading with produce, goods, and services. So that is the third varna. Then there is a fourth varna with predominant tamoguna, or predominant manifestation of the physical power, and lesser of the power of the mind and the intellect, the thought, which is more of tamoguna, lesser of rajoguna. Supporting tamoguna is rajoguna, and then sattva is very minuscule in nature. They are the fourth varna who are helping the other three varnas. And so what happens if women are not thinking in the right direction and conforming with the principles of this dharma, then there will be a disturbance of this, and there will be a mixture of all these varnas. A mixture of all these gunas will take place. And what happens? So that's a fourth point. Fourth point. And then now fifth point, what is there? What happens if the mixture of gunas take place? These are all the reasons he is giving. Sankaro narakayaiva kulagnanam kulasya cha patanti pitaro khesham luktapindodakakriyaha. When all there is a mixture of all the different varnas, the different colors, the different gunas, and different qualities among people, sankaraha means mixture. Narakaya eva, everything goes to hell is the word that's being used here. What is hell? There's so much of difficulty and difficulty in the society. When people don't do their own work, they want to just be messing up with the order in society. They want to create disturbance in society. They want to create law and order problems. They want to do their own thing and not conform to rules and regulations. We know that it is going to be hell. When all this is destroyed, kula gnanam, the kula, the lineage will be destroyed. The kula, everything will be destroyed. Then what happens? Patanti pitaraha. Our ancestors, the ancestors who have really taken care so much and lived so many years and cultivated this culture and handed down to the next generation, if they see that everything is being destroyed, they are real, because if the ancestors have to move ahead on their journey in life in the other worlds, their followers must continue the best practices. In any company we have something called best practices, and when everybody wishes, even when the chairman is retiring, he always wishes that other people who take over continue the best practices of the company. And it is not important of this chairman or that chairman. It is important that the name of the company survives for a long period of time. In the same way, it is not important who was the grandfather or the great grandfather or the great great grandfather. It is very, very important that the lineage lives long and healthy and passes on the goodness that was showered upon them, that was handed over to them, to the next generation. So it is not a desirable thing to destroy all that, and it does not make us happy. Lupta pinda udaka kriyaha. When there is a mixture of different castes, people's beliefs become very different. That is the reason, the whole logic behind inter-community marriages, inter-caste marriages, inter-religious marriages, or international marriages, and all that. The whole debate is all about how this tradition, the ancestors have to be given pinda and udaka. We are all taking all these decisions in life thinking that once a person dies, they're dead and gone and there is nothing else to do after that. They are not dead and gone. The body is dead, but they are here. And just like a living person, like a grandfather who is at home, who has his next breakfast and next lunch and next dinner, and he is awaiting for that. And if you feed him, he is going to be hungry and thirsty. In the same way, the person who is dead will feel hungry and thirsty. He will be awaiting his next breakfast, lunch, and dinner because only the body has dropped. The subtle body is still there, and the subtle body will continue until the third generation. So that is why even when we do Pitru Tarpanam and all that, they say Vasu, Rudra, Aditya. Vasu is the father, Rudra is the grandfather, and Aditya is the great grandfather. For the great grandfather from the father's side, from the mother's side, from the daughter's side, for everybody they do Pitru Tarpana. The reason is all these people, even though they may have died in the recent years, or even in 100 years from now, they might have died, they are physically, their subtle body is there with the same sensations that they were when they were living. And so it is very important, this culture, this tradition of giving Udaka Kriya, water and tila. Tila is sesame seeds and water with rice balls are being offered. And in the form of a crow, it is these are not beliefs. Like when you say something is written and somebody says and I cannot see, you can say it is a belief. But when we are in modern days, scientific discoveries also, science, quantum physics, and quantum healing and other subjects are all talking about this, and they are conducting 50,000 rupees, 1 lakh rupees worth meditation programs to heal these kind of problems in people, which is caused by not taking care of ancestors. So we will talk about all this. It is not there. We can ignore all this. This is just the Shastras. If you believe it is there, if you don't believe it is not there, we can just shrug our shoulders and go. But when we really see the problems that families face because of not doing all these Pitru Tarpana and Pitru Karma, meaning giving for the answer, it is not only in India, it is there all over the world. In all countries, it's being followed. What happens? If we don't do that, the ancestors get angry. They get angry not because they're angry with us, and they don't need to get angry. They are very loving people, but we understand only the language of pain. We don't understand the language of good sense. When somebody says this has to be done, why should I do shraddha? They ask questions like this to elders. Why should I do shraddha? I will donate to some old age home. I will donate to some other home, some orphanage. That same money which I have to give the brahmana, I will donate to somebody else. So it is like saying I have to give this person 50,000 rupees, but I will just give this person 70,000 rupees. Well, it is all the same, right? It's not the same. If I have to give loan to somebody, I have to give loan to that person. In that person's name, I cannot give that loan to somebody else. It doesn't write off the loan. The loan still remains to be given. So lukta pinda udaka kriyaha. So the important point here is through Arjuna, what we get to know is that if we do not, if no, I'm not saying if we do not do, we will get this. There is no need for that. If we need to be happy in life, so that the point I was coming to say is the ancestors, they get angry because they are still there, they are still alive, they are still present, and they want to see the lineage continued happening very well, very beautifully, all the right things happening at the right time for the people living in the family, grandchildren, great grandchildren, the good things that are happening and the lineage to continue. They're still around to see that, even though they cannot speak or they cannot communicate. Yet they feel very sorry and they feel very sad that it is not happening. And we are just going about our work, not doing what needs to be done, particularly for this purpose. Then, to catch our attention, they give us problems. They give us many kind of interesting problems, like mental illness or tragic accidents at a very small age, young age deaths. There may be boys in the family. Even though the family is very rich, this boy will not listen to everybody. He will look very unkempt. His hair will be frizzled or a different kind. He will not look presentable, and he will not be doing good work. He will not be earning good money. There will be a lot of constant fighting in the family. There will be lack of peace. There may be diseases in any form. There are so many forms by which we can have problems. We know that. If we are suffering from all that, one of the main reasons could be not completing the ancestral work that we need to do. The ancestors are very, very angry, and they are trying to turn our attention by giving us more and more pain. So, Lukta Pinda Udaka Kriyaha. If the lineage is disturbed, then the offering of rice balls, sesame seeds, and water for the ancestors, those activities will cease. Then what happens? Doshairetai kulagnanam varna sankara karakaihi utsadyante jati dharmaha kula dharmascha shashvataha. Because of all these problems, utsadyante jati dharmaha, all the dharmas. One moment. Utsadyante, all the responsibilities, the duties of the different communities, the different groups of people, the different strata of society, everything will get disturbed, Krishna. Utsadyante, and Kula Dharma. Jati Dharma is the different groups among people. Kula Dharma is in the different families. Also, the routine will be disrupted. Our brain loves routine. The more we are able to maintain a good routine, our individual brain will protect us, protect the body. The more the family routine is maintained, the family's unity will be protected. The more the society and the community's routine is maintained, the community and the society will be protected. The more the national routine is maintained, the nation will be protected. The more world routine is maintained, the world will be protected. If this routine is disturbed, then we have problems. Kula dharmasya shashvataha. Utsanna kula dharmanam manushyanam janardana. Oh, I didn't read this. Utsanna kula dharmanam manushyanam janardana. Narake niyatam vasaha bhavati tyanushruma. So he concludes this with almost 10 points. When the kula dharma, or the duties, responsibilities of the lineage, people of the lineage is destroyed, of the human beings are destroyed. Oh Janardana, people are all worshipping you, Krishna. You definitely, they are worshipping you because you have established this kula dharma everywhere in the world, and that is the reason why people love you so much and they're worshipping you. Now you tell me, Krishna, can I be responsible for destroying the kula dharma of my community, of my lineage? I shouldn't be, right? Why? Because if kula dharma is destroyed, where will everybody go? They will all go to hell. Narake niyatam vasaha. They will be eternally in hell. Bhavati iti anushruma. I have heard from my teachers, I have heard from my ancestors that if kula dharma is destroyed, people will live a hellish life. They will suffer for their food and water and clothing and good relationships. They will not have love. There will be anger, hatred, jealousy, and there will be poverty. Nothing will be prosperous. Nothing will be happy or good around us. So, for all these reasons, it is not worth fighting this battle. And then he is even putting his hand on his head and saying, Aho batamahat papam kartum vyavasita vayam yadrajya sukha lobhena hantum swajana mudyataha. Aho batamahat papam kartum vyavasita vayam. He is not talking about himself here. Like I mentioned yesterday, if I have a problem and I say only myself, then it is okay. But if I want to make that responsibility collective, I say we are all doing this. In the same way, Aho Bata, oh tell me Krishna, Mahat Papam Kartum Vyavasita Vayam. We are all now standing on the verge of creating a big problem for society by fighting this battle. For what reason? Why we are all fighting? Our whys should be very clear. What is the reason here Arjuna is giving for fighting this battle? He is not saying dharma as a reason. He is saying yadrajya sukhalobhena hantum swajanamudyataha. For the sake of my own joys, for the sake of our own pleasures, our own comforts, now we are ready to kill our own family. Is it the right thing to do, Krishna? You know dharma, you please tell me. He is just giving a perverted logic to Krishna. He is trying to put his case in the court in such a manner that the appeal will be on his favor, the judgment will be in his favor. But Krishna is not to be bowled over by all this. Yadi mama pratikaram ashastram shastrapanayah dhartarashtrarane hanyuhu tanme kshemataram bhavet. Now whenever we are going on talking something to somebody and that person shows no reaction, then what we will do is we'll try to change the topic. We'll say this doesn't cut any ice, so let me try some other way. We will try to berate ourselves. We will try to jeopardize our own position. Yadi mam apratikaram ashastram shastrapanayah. Ashastram, I'll drop all my weapons. I will be free of all weapons. I will just keep my hands free of weapons. Apratikaram, I will not try to do anything. I will just give up. Okay? Dhartarashtra Rane Hanyuhu. And I will allow the Dhritarashtras, the sons of Dhritarashtra, to just kill me. So that may seem better. Tanme kshemataram bhavet. It looks better to me to die this way than standing in the battle and killing all these people and causing so much of damage to the lineage and the society and incurring a lot of sin in the process. His argument is taking it further. Tanme kshemataram bhavet. It looks like it will be much better to be killed in battle by not taking up arms and allowing them to kill me. Just come on, you kill me. I'm not going to do anything. I will die, like committing suicide. And here, I think this is the last verse of this chapter. Eva muktva Arjuna sankhe rathopastha upavishat visrajya sasharam chapam shoka samvignamanasaha. So here concludes Sanjaya uvacha. Sanjaya says this to Dhritarashtra. Sanjaya uvacha eva muktva Arjuna sankhe rathopastha upavishat visrajya sasharam chapam shoka samvignamanasaha. Sanjaya tells Dhritarashtra, he began with the narrative, he is now concluding it in this chapter. Eva muktva, in this way Arjuna spoke. Spoke to whom? Arjuna sankhye, in the battlefield. Rathopastha, one moment. Rathopastha, standing in the chariot. Uktva sankhye, yes, in the battlefield. Standing in the chariot, seated in the chariot. Rathopastha upavishat, he just sat down completely. He was standing, he gave up. He just sat down. How did he sit down? Visrajya. His Gandiva, which he held with so much of pride, which he would not allow anybody to even utter a wrong word about the Gandiva. He would chop off their head if they tell something bad about the Gandiva. That is his vow. That Sashara Chapa, his bow and arrow, the quiver of arrows, he just puts them down, Visrujya, he just gives them up. Shoka samvigna manasaha. His mind is overcome with sorrow. His mind is overcome with dejection. His mind is very depressed. And he is not able to take a decision on fighting this war. He just kneels down in front of Krishna and dropping his bow and arrow, and he is unable to take it any further, almost coming to a position of surrender, but not yet surrendered. And from the second chapter onwards, when Bhagavan Sri Krishna speaks, Bhagavan Adisankaracharya begins the discourse. He does not give any discourse throughout the first chapter, and almost up to the 7 verses, I think, in the second chapter, he does not give any discourse because it is Arjuna's lamenting. And for lamenting, we don't need we don't need to do anything to understand meaning. We can just understand when people are venting their grievance out. And so we will conclude with this. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Arjuna Vishada Yogo Nama Prathamodhyayaha. The first chapter, Om Tat Sat. It ends in this manner, iti, in this manner, in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, this text called Srimad Bhagavad Gita, or the Song of God, Song of the Lord, Upanishatsu. It is an Upanishad because it takes you closer to your own self. And Upanishad is a text in the Vedas which is meant to introduce ourselves to us, take us close to ourselves, and make us abide in ourselves. This is the knowledge of the Upanishads. The same knowledge we get through the Bhagavad Gita. So it gets a standard of an Upanishad, though it is basically called a Smriti. Smriti is the remembered knowledge. What is conveyed through the Upanishads, they listen and then it is retold from memory. It is called Smriti. It is not inspired knowledge, it is remembered knowledge. Brahma Vidya, it is the knowledge of the Brahman, knowledge of the truth, knowledge of reality. Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade, it is a samvada or a good conversation between Arjuna and Krishna. A samvada is, there are many different types of conversations. Vivada is going on arguing, debating. Vitandavada is when one person speaks, the other person speaks just the opposite for the sake of speaking. It is not even an argument, it is just to show our one-upmanship. Vitandavada, Vivada, then Samvada. Samvada is asking a question to a person who is like a teacher and seeking clarification for the sake of seeking clarification and not to confirm my own point or to state my own point. So it's a very genuine, beautiful, charming discussion that Arjuna and Bhagavan Sri Krishna is having in the battlefield. It is very charming and it is very unique because it is an Upanishad and yet it is a Samvada in a Sangrama. Sangrama is a battlefield. In the battlefield, everything is life and death situation. Whereas the other Upanishads are all the discussions are all happening in ashramas, where peacocks are going around, havan smoke is coming, the ducks are swimming in the pond, the birds are chirping, the morning is very beautiful, small children are there studying the Upanishads and the Veda Pata is going on. In that atmosphere, the teacher and the student meet and they discuss the Upanishads, where abundance of food is there. When there is hunger, there is food, clothing, shelter, everything is there. Life is very protected and taken care of. In such a situation, Upanishad is discussed. But here, in a totally different situation where next moment life will go away, in that condition, this Bhagavad Gita is being discussed. This Upanishad called the Bhagavad Gita is being discussed, and so it becomes very unique. And Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade. So this conversation is very beautiful. Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Yoga means chapter. Yoga also means identification. Arjuna, that warrior Arjuna, is identified with this feeling of grief and sorrow and dejection. So that's called Arjuna Vishada Yoga Nama Prathama Adhyayaha. The first chapter is over. So we will look into the second chapter sometime in the middle of next month. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु, सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसोर्मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। बोलिए श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। हर नमः पार्वती पतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम। जय हरि गोविंद जय नंद लाला, राधा लोला रासविलोला, त्रिभुवन परिपाल दीन दयाला। जय हरि